I think timely shot making. There was just like an incredible connectivity, a collective pursuit of just winning the game, whatever it would take to do that. Like some plays that, rewatching it, kind of reconfirmed that for me was like Bashir flying in out of his area to go grab an offensive rebound and put the ball back in the basket. It was under out of bounds execution. It was Sean Phillips setting a great back screen, weak side out of post, and we skipped the ball for a wide open three to B.J. Freeman. It was like how locked in we were defensively to, understand, Small is one of the best players in the country right now, and not only in the Big 12, and how we were in gaps and being disruptive and up in ball screen coverage. We just didn't have breakdowns. We didn't have many breakdowns. So it was impressive to see the guys like, that focused.
Do you think that there were conversations amongst themselves or with you before that were different than prior?
It's been like a lot of things, really, Chris. It's like, hey, against Baylor, we can't come into the locker room with 22 points, or Cincinnati, the same thing. We can't get off to these type of starts. I thought, like, as good as Adam defended the whole game against that kid, he also made like big shots in the first half to keep the game close and get us a lead going into halftime. So, it's avoiding live ball turnovers. I mean, we still did it against West Virginia, but not as bad as it was at Cincinnati. We just can't, afford to give away easy points. So that's been something that we'll continue to harp on, getting our transition defense better, because this team tomorrow is going to try and push it, and if they could create a turnover, or they're going to try and score early. Gilbert is one of the best transition guards in the country, and if we don't bring our a commitment to getting back, then we're going to be in trouble there too. We didn't do that versus UCF. We allowed, the kid to get going, and then some of that was in transition, Hall, in the first half. And there's all different areas that you got to try and shore up, and certainly taking care of the ball, getting off to a better start. I loved how we came out of the half to start the second half on the road. Just being very efficient, scoring it, getting stops. So just trying to keep emphasizing those things that are getting in the way of us doing better and playing better.
You've got a lot of guys that played a lot of minutes. Do you worry about that kind of catching up to you guys at some point?
I just think overall it's an adjustment, and like this isn't the Pac-12 anymore, and again, when you land on Wednesday morning at 4:00 in the morning, and then guys are getting home at 5. It's like you're like a zombie the whole day, that next day. And even yesterday in practice, I didn't think we had a lot of pop, like a juice to, so today we looked far better. Like we looked more rested today in our practice and kind of back to normal. So I think it's adjustment to these high level games, like great crowds, like tough environments, and some mixed in with some, just tricky travel that we got to get adjusted to and accustomed to.
How has Trevor responded in practice since getting his first minutes?
I talked to him, today. He's just got to keep reviewing the offense. We got guys that he's doing 5-on-0 with, so that he understands and got a better feel for what we're doing at that end of the floor. That's the biggest thing that I would say at this point is like holding him back, is that there's like an adjustment to learning and understanding what we're doing. Defensively, he's fine. In that game, when I put him out there, I didn't worry at all. He was just, he made a play on defense right away in our press, and, so he's fine in that regard. It's going to take him a little bit of time.
And what's been the key to TJ Otzelberger's success, kind of turning that thing around and building it into what it has?
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch from the outside, because I remember watching his team the year we went to the NCAA tournament 2 years ago, and they played really hard and they really defend, but they really couldn't score. Now fast forward it, they still really guard, they defend, and they play hard, and they're now one of the better scoring teams, in the conference. And They got great balance, really good perimeter, one of the best in the country. Those three guys, Lipsy, Gilbert, and Jones. And I wish he would have stayed at Buffalo. That guy, and I wouldn't have to see him tomorrow. And then the front court, Jefferson and Jackson, they got big bodies that could rebound. So, there's a lot of things that we have to be concerned about tomorrow.
Coach, any timetable update on Joson?
Joson looked fantastic today. It's as good as he's looked since prior to the injury. So he's going to be green lighted tomorrow, assuming he responded well from what he did today in practice, which there's nothing that I would think would be holding him back at this point. He's excited to play, and we're excited to have him back.
And is BJ feeling good too? The bone bruise?
Yeah, BJ he went through practice normal the last 2 days, and he was fine in the West Virginia game. So I think he'll be fine.
How about Jaden Quaintance, how far he's come offensively, and his game is just taken up to another level.
Yeah, he's relentless. I mean, how he plays. I mean, everything he does on defense. As much as you want to credit Adam Miller, what he did with Small. I mean, Jaden's impact at that end when he's in the game is significant. I think I took him out in the second half for like a minute, and they scored 2 layups right away. And I was like, all right, I got to get him back in the game immediately. But his offensive game is developing. It's coming together. I think his teammates are starting to find him well. Like Mace found him twice on dump offs, and so we just have to be able to, when he's open in that way, he's going to be able to finish. And then he's just relentless, going to the glass. So he's doing a lot of great things at that end of the floor now too.
So is it the type of situation where now you try to run more offense for him, given what he's shown in recent weeks?
Yeah, we have to try and get him the ball in good areas and good spots where he's got some room to operate, because teams are really swarming the ball occasionally with him. So we got to make sure that we're putting him in the right spots so that we can avoid those type of turnovers. And we're watching film with him as well, so he could see what defenses are trying to do with him, because he could dribble so well for someone like with his size and physicality that it's kind of unusual. But sometimes you could get yourself into a bad situation. As a 17-year-old that's still learning, he's going to figure that out and get better at that as we keep going on.
Seems like his chemistry with Alston has been really budding in the last few games. What have you made of that?
I think Alston knows if he could get him the ball and create, help and rotations to him, that he could drop the ball, and Jaden knows what to do with it, certainly. And so he's just, he's developing. And I love the way he's coming out in the last 2 second halves. Jaden offensively has really had an impact. I think maybe as teams naturally get tired throughout the course of a game, he doesn't slow down. Like, he's got that motor that keeps going, and I think that's something that's certainly beneficial for him.
He has had a few turnovers in the last few games. Is that just him trying to do too much, or?
I mean, that's been I don't think he's alone in that regard. I think it's what I touched on in my prior comments, just about putting him in the right positions and watching film with him so he could see how his opponents are going to try and defend him and take some things away, and he's a very bright kid, and he'll learn and improve from that. But overall, it's been something that we got to fix. Like, it's not only Jaden, it's multiple guys, and we gotta value the ball better and not just give away free points.
Coach, you mentioned Tuesday after the game how when guarding a guy like Small, you got to have other people helping, stabbing in, making sure that you can't get to the paint undetected. For a team like Iowa State with multiple guards that can really get downhill and score in a multitude of facets, how do you go about game planning the defensive scheme?
Yeah, I mean, it starts just building your transition, getting back quickly, getting matched up fast, regardless of what happens on offense, making sure that we're identifying the threats right away. They could score in transition. And then we got to help, and we got to get back, and we got to do it all. I mean, they could shoot the three, they could attack the paint. They got big physical interior big guys. So it's hard to find a real weakness on their team. That's why they're number 3 in the country. But we have to play with aggression. We got to make sure that we're active on defense. If you just sit back and just let them dictate the terms, then you're just you're in trouble. So we got to make sure that we're trying to be the aggressor tomorrow.
When you look at the fact that you guys snapped your losing streak against the team that beat Iowa State, is that playing into how you game plan or watching over that film?
Not really, because every game is different, every team is different, every teams have different strengths, things they go to. So I think it was more, if there was any benefit, it's that we saw the ball go in the basket in key moments throughout the game. We fought off a really good basketball team that was top 25, that's beaten a lot of good teams this year on their home court, and that's hopefully a confidence builder, particularly knowing that we're getting Joson back, because that's been a struggle at times. Just always being able to generate offense, always being able to keep fresh bodies on the floor. So when you add someone like him back into the mix, it should hopefully give us a boost.
How have you seen the leadership develop from Adam or other seniors as they come to an understanding of what they need to do here down the stretch?
I think Adam knew the significance of that game and what it meant, and like he was just laser focused. He knew he had to make shots in that first half when we had that poor stretch when we were stuck on 11 for a while, and he was able to do that, and at the same time, take their best player, out of it. So that was the guy maybe understanding the moment and realizing where the season was at, and knowing like, hey, we gotta do whatever it takes, and I have to do my part to make sure that we get a victory.
Do you have plans going forward now, Coach, to play Trevor Best more in these games and you guys can focus on down the floor?
I think Trevor is a long-term stock. He's the type of guy that, out of necessity, I played him because we were just, I needed to get another guy in the game, and so he played a few minutes. But it's unfair to him at this point, because he hasn't practiced enough and he hasn't enough time to really fully understand what we're doing at the offensive end. He's picking things up. I think that he's certainly in our plans this year to play, and coming off the bench, provide a spark for us, particularly with Austin's injury. But I have to be fair to him and give him a chance to truly be comfortable and understand what he's doing and what we're doing, when he's out on the floor. But he's ready. I mean, he's not afraid of the moment. He went right in there and competed, and I like a lot of what I'm seeing with him in the future that he will have here. Thank you, guys.